Fellow Toastmasters and honored guests, picture your personal hero. Imagine their face right now in your mind's eye. What feelings does that conjure up for you? What makes them your hero? Maya Angelou said, "I think a hero is any person really intent on making this a better place for all people." I have many heroes, but I look up to one of them specifically every single day. And I mean that quite literally. Allow me to explain. This is my grandfather, Leon Shuloff. I made this painting as a teenager 30 years ago, and I gave it to him for a Father's Day gift. He had it on his wall for many years very proudly. It was a very sad day when this came back to me. When I painted this of him, it was because he was a personal hero for me for one reason, but later he became a personal hero for me for several reasons. And today I'm going to share 3 reasons why my grandfather Lee means so much to me. His creativity, his self-sacrifice, and his compassion. When I was young, my grandfather Lee was my hero for his creativity. He came to my house quite often and brought amazing gifts that he had made just for me and my brothers, like this right here. This beautiful wooden rocking horse, which he made in his garage workshop. He made the most beautiful gifts out of wood, like duck mobiles and all sorts of things. But the one gift that he gave to me, which made him a hero for me, was actually none other than a box. That's right, a box. 6 inches tall, 3 feet wide, 4 feet long, and inside a playground of partitions. This maze of maple walls was a perfect place for me to play with my action figures like G.I. Joe figurines and my Star Wars characters, and they would have all sorts of scenarios that I played out. And let me tell you, he didn't just give me a box. He gave me a world that I could use my imagination in. And also he gave my parents a huge gift, because this box for me also meant that when I put my toys away, I could only fit this exactly under my bed, and therefore, no more mess. I look at this painting and I see myself in the future, and I hope that I can be as creative as he was for me and as giving. When I was a young man, he became a hero for me for a different reason: self-sacrifice. He was married for 55 years to my grandma Clara. They met when he was a drummer in a band, and she was auditioning as a singer, and it was love at first sight. As a matter of fact, he only invited her to audition so he could get to know her. And they were married for 55 years, but later in their years, she developed horrible migraines that were triggered at the sound of anything loud, so he sacrificed his drums. One night, later in their years, he was in his mid-70s. He was up getting a midnight snack, walking back to the bed in the dark, and he tripped and fell and broke his hip, laying there on the floor in utter pain for hours. He didn't wake her up to take him to the emergency room, no, because he didn't want to trigger another headache for her. That moment perfectly encapsulates his love for her and his self-sacrifice. I look at this painting and I hope I can sacrifice for my wife and my children as much as he did for her. And I do, most of the time. As an adult, my grandfather Lee became a hero for me for another reason, and that is his compassion. Now, he was always a sensitive man. You could tell because when he would watch movies or tell stories, he would tear up in the eyes. However, I didn't know what was behind those tears. I didn't know that my grandfather was actually a second lieutenant in World War II and had flown over 30 missions as a lead bombardier. I didn't know until his funeral that he was even a veteran. And I knew that because his fellow veterans performed a 3-volley salute, 2 taps. I didn't know anything about it. One day my father told me a story fairly recently about my grandfather that my grandfather had told him, and this will blow you away. He was on a mission, flying in a B-17 Flying Fortress, mission over Germany. And he was stationed as a gunner, not his usual role of lead bombardier. In that glass shield, he would shoot his machine guns at enemies, and they would shoot back at him. But there was one particular incident where a German plane flew so close that my grandfather looked the enemy gunner directly in the eyes. Now, picture this. Jewish American, German soldier. My grandfather had cousins who were in camps. This is an impactful moment. And he looked in that guy's eyes, and he didn't see an enemy. He saw a fellow human being, and he just couldn't shoot. Fellow Toastmasters, honored guests, think about these 3 stories and the lessons that I've taken from them of creativity, of self-sacrifice and compassion, and think about how you can become a hero. Every day we have opportunities. For example, the man who brings a card to a cashier thanking them for their service, or an unemployed woman who makes a mask for a nurse. We can be heroes every day. What can you do to be a hero for somebody else today? Madam Contest Chair.